Hi, I'm David Lawrence. I am the Museum Director of the Neversink Valley Museum of History and Innovation here in Cuddy-Backville, New York. We're a museum that's dedicated to the history of the D&H Canal and the local history of our area. And we're in the museum here. This is the area donated that we talk about John Roebling and the aqueducts that he built for the D&H Canal. You're looking at a model of the aqueduct that went over the Neversink River that was designed by John Roebling, who is famously known for designing the Brooklyn Bridge in New York City. This bridge was built using wire rope, which was his big invention, which held up the bridge. You can see the black areas on the sides, and the wire swung underneath it. This bridge was full of water. The picture up above it is actual picture of the canal with water in it. It was finished around 1850, and the abutments still exist on the outside of the museum here, and they're stone abutments, and they're the remnants of the canal. So these are replicas of canal boats that were used during the canal era. The one on top, the red one, is basically the small boats that are at the beginning. They held about 10 tons of coal. The second boat is a model of a packet boat, because on the weekends when the canal wasn't being used to haul goods, it actually was a place where people took trips. They had little tourist trips back and forth on the canal. Still, again, everything was pulled by mules. As time goes on, the canal boats actually get larger, so that by the end of the canal era, going into the 1860s, we have steamboats going up and down the Hudson River, and they actually just push the canal boats full of coal out into the river, and then they barge them together and take them down to the marketplace in New York City. This is an example here of a rudder that was actually a canal boat rudder. You can see the metal work on it, so that gives you an idea of how important the blacksmith was to the area. That's a Nighthawk lantern there. And then this photograph on the wall just gives you an idea of the size of the canal boats when they were constructed. This is looking over the Delaware Aqueduct from Pennsylvania, looking into New York City, and the aqueduct is all the way over to your right. You can see the tops of the bridge. This is a snubbing post that's on the property of the museum. Snubbing posts were planted along the canal, and they were used to tie the boats off with. You can see the grooves along the edge here where the ropes wore away the granite to be able to, so you can imagine how much use these got and how much stress was put on them to keep the boats tied on. This part was above ground, and everything back here was below ground. Hi, you're looking at the stone abutment on the southern side of the Neversink River. That's the remnants of the aqueduct that was built by John Roebling. Again, this was finished around 1850 and built during that time of the expansion of the canal. If you see in the middle, there's a notch, and that's where the actual canal went across to the abutment that matched on the other side. Hi, we're standing on the location of what was Lock 51 on the D&H Canal, and behind me now are the current remnants of the canal. It's dry because after Hurricane Sandy and Lee, we lost water. And we have plans in the works to try to rewater this section of the canal that's inside the Orange County D&H Canal Park. You're looking at the remnants of our dock where we used to dock our little canal boat. We used to do canal boat rides on the weekends, which allowed us to have a little extra revenue for the museum, and tell the story of the canal with people on the boat actually floating in the canal that was left. It was really fantastic. You can see the width of the canal here as it goes off in the distance, and if you turn and see You can also look at the stonework, the remnants of the stonework on the far side of the canal. We're standing on the towpath side, and that is the weir side on the other side, the berm that holds up the other side of the canal. So those were all laid by hand.